The law of the jungle, quite frankly, is just we, mankind, humanity, people, are just one step out of the jungle. Apparently, as far as I can work out, Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, has just assassinated the top nuclear scientist in Persia, Iran. Well, brilliant. Once we go down that route, I remember so well the bomb at Brighton, I'm pretty sure it was Brighton, Mrs. Thatcher and the big Conservative Party conference, I suppose. I think it was 1983, but whatever the date was, and much as I disliked the woman's policies, etc., she clearly was a strong character, the Iron Lady, etc. Taking out political leaders, quite frankly, is, I mean, it's not just on the slippery slope, it's sort of back into the jungle, really. It's not new. I think the Egyptians got up to a bit of this and that. Poisoning your opponents, and then there was Et tu, Brute, so the Ides of March, old Julius Caesar, and all his compadres stabbed him, so the story goes. The Gandhi person was killed by Rajiv Gandhi, the son, the former airline pilot, by... No, it was Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi was slaughtered by her Sikh guards, for heaven's sake. Indira Gandhi, not Rajiv. I think he was assassinated too, wasn't he? I'm afraid my grasp of all this stuff is sort of fair to muddling, but that's about as good as it goes. You know, one lives through these events. If you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. That's the sort of rule of thumb. As far as I'm concerned, between my former wife and the English state, they killed my son, Robert Francis. That is a picture of him at the age of about 10. He committed suicide on Tuesday, the 23rd of August, 2011, at about 5 p.m. When he was 18 years old, he would have just passed his 28th birthday on the 12th of November. Now, just passed. I was there at the birth. Mr. Fordry was the surgeon, 8 3/4 pounds, 10 a.m. on Thursday, the 12th of November, obviously. At Central Milton Keynes Hospital, it was what's called a breech birth, so his bum was facing, and they couldn't turn him inside. And what happens there, if the head doesn't come first, is both baby and mother may die, basically. So it was a planned Caesar, a planned cesarean section, a fortnight early. And there he was, and I was there. Is it meconium? I get this word wrong, but there's a sort of white grease on them. Anyway, I held him as he popped out. It was called an epidural. She had, my former wife. So her top half was still awake, which is great. So he's straight onto the breast, basically. Apart from, I held him all wrapped up. And on their little fingers, etc. So I do remember this, 8 3/4 pounds. Thursday morning at Central Milton Keynes Hospital. Basically, that's my legacy to life. Subsequently, my former wife accused me of all sorts of stuff. She'd been sexually abused by her own father, Mr. Eric Bruin, an RAF trainer chap. And her GP had told her to leave the home, the family home, at the age of 16. That's all I really know about it. But I do get this false sexual relations between adults and children. On the other hand, I was blessed. I had a wonderful, normal start in life. Wonderful and elderly gentlefolk parents. My mother was a maternity sister. My dear old dad was an analytical chemist. The kitchen was the place he used to walk through on the way to the workshop. He did the bills and the mending in the house in that way. Mother did the cooking and the cleaning in that way. She stopped her nursing to be a mother, so mother was always home. This is London we ended up in. I used to wander off in London and walk from end to end. I can't do that at the moment, my leg's knackered, but I always knew I had a home to go to, and that story continued later on. I have a very strong sense of home, place, home. And family. What else have we got, really? Quite frankly. Work, well, I mean, I was in computing. All the computing later, was originally training as a medical doctor, in fact, at Bristol University, but I later on got into just computing, business money, you know, nice clothes, etc. Actually, I didn't wear my beautiful tailored suits to work. I just wore the same old pairs. I had 2 pairs of Marks and Spencer trousers. I used to rotate them. I just washed them. They were sort of drip dries or something. I don't know, just black trousers. Anyway, ramble, lost the plot. I've just been going through my journal here. You won't be able to read it, but those papers are from 10 years ago, so I've hoiked them around on my back. I ended up off on a pilgrimage around the world and stuff, with money and then without money. Anyway, somehow they've survived. So those are my writings from 10 years ago. And I'm speaking of the end times. In the last one, I say much of the world's population is for the chop. Well, this is the end times. For anyone who does not find the love of God through Christ in their lives, so we have our allotted span of 70 years and 10, the inevitable fate for all those people is that they will be thrown into the fiery furnace. This is directly from the Bible. There's no argument about it. This will happen. I feel that we're at the sort of initial stages of this, with this COVID-19 business. But no one's listening. Most people aren't listening. They just want us to go back to normal commercialism, you know, have a bun feast at Christmas. How utterly awful. Yes, I love an advent calendar. We had ours. It came out every year for years and years and years and years. You know, you open each little window on a nice big Christmas sort of card thing as the days go by, from December the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, well, all the way through to the obviously the 25th, Christmas. And children learn about that. They learn about little baby Jesus, Mother Mary, Father Joseph, the animals in the stable, and all of those sort of nice things. Well, good. The adults totally lose the plot. This is the problem. They totally lose the plot. The 2 commandments are love God, love your neighbor as yourself. This can never include killing people. That's the whole point. Even thinking about it, planning and plotting it. Well, to me, I mean, it's just blatantly obvious. Inside, I suppose, I don't know, am I screaming? The world in which I live, this vale of tears, it just goes on in the same way. People justifying their evil ways. And it's so difficult once you've sort of committed yourself to a certain path of lies and cheating and dishonesty and dishonorable behavior, as in the president, the current of the United States of America, to back out of it. He's just going to become another citizen, that awful little man in America, you know, and his opinion will then be nothing. And all his awfulness will be washed away, hopefully. My aunt, God has the answer. Love. With love in our hearts, we cannot kill, we cannot think about it, we cannot plan and plot it. Of course we're going to fall out. That's why in the Lord's Prayer it says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them that trespass against us. That's the whole essence of that. We're bound to fall out with our neighbours, etc., right? But you then go and pray, and before you pray, you try and work out what went wrong and reconcile. That's the way it should be. And it's not idealistic, this. It's just basic humanity, actually. Oh, dear. Anyway, God, through my broken marriage with a child who's now committed suicide, Robert Francis, has given me this, my rock-solid faith. Yes, I know the world's a mess. Yes, I know there's murder and mayhem going on all around the world now. Manufacture and sale of arms. All sorts of stuff going on now. And yet here I am in my lovely, nice material comfort. It's quite chilly and foggy out, so sort of damp and chilly, so I just push a button, I've got heating. I wish I had a nice big log fire, actually, but anyway, I've had that in the past in France. I had 2 properties in the mountains in France with lots of wood. Anyway, the best I can manage is my candle for fire and the light of Christ shining. And his light is shining within me. And I want to share it. Amen.